Is it working? Yes, no, maybe so, seems to be possibly. Okay. Okay, I think it's working. Um Hello and welcome to the library. Welcome to the Wednesday read through stream. It is our longest of the week because Sundays I have to get up in the next day. Wednesdays I usually have time. So Wednesdays are usually our longer streams. So welcome to anyone currently watching. This may be a long one. Don't know yet. Um Before we get started, please let me know how my audio is. Um I have if you've Hi, Books. How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. This is awesome. Hello. I spent before greetings. Hi, Sam. Look at everyone on already tonight. This is so cool. It usually takes like 10 to 15 minutes for anyone to show up. So this is so cool. uh Before coming on, I had spent probably an hour plus with the Beacon people, which is a company that does microphones and mixes and all that fun stuff. And because this shit just wasn't working, it just wasn't. No matter what I could seem to do. So hopefully, oh wow, you got your chores and everything done all quick already. I just put it off to tomorrow. I'm like, there's about 12 things that I have to do. I will get 10 done. And I'm like, just put it off to tomorrow. Um, It was a bit quiet. Turned up the volume. Oh, okay. Wait, this is good. This is good for me to know. How's that volume? Is that the volume up all the way? Okay. All right. We got this. I'll fiddle. I'll fiddle with this shit. I don't even care. Um, it would help though if I knew what the frick I was pressing. No, it's not working. Oh, it sounds good now? That's all better? It was a bit quiet. Does it sound good? Did it sound I don't know. I don't know. The Beacon people were very, very nice. It was a great customer service experience. It made me feel old because it was done through Discord and they're like, "Oh, press this button to share your screen." I'm like, "You mean I don't have to give you a code and then you have to look at my screen and then we'll have to You sound better now." Oh, great. So it did sound like shit before. Awesome. So now Also, full disclosure, I'm pulling a work clerk. That's okay. I am notorious for lurking, and a lot of it's just chatting anyways. So if that's okay. Ah, damn it. Um, I hope I will. Let me just move that because I'll kick it throughout the entire thing. I'm one of those responsible adults that rather than having a dedicated trash bin, I just have whatever shopping bag I've used recently. I'll out myself. I don't care. I had a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about. Uh, yeah, so I have a whole bunch of stuff that I wanted to talk about today and this stream because there's some stuff that was happening and I'm like, oh, I'd like to mention that in chat. And then I'm like, damn it, I gotta wait for Wednesday. First and foremost, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to start. Okay, so talked with the Beacon people, the microphone and the setup and all that. And oh, where is it? Let me get it up here. Okay, tell me if this is loud, but it shouldn't be. Can you hear that? Yes, no, maybe so. You can't hear anything. God damn it. How's that? I'm fiddling with the shit because I want to get this done before we get into the. Let me try something here. Oh yeah, no, it's not showing up. Okay, so I'm gonna go louder on your end. Is it too loud or is it just nice? It might be too loud now because I just put it up. Is that too loud? I'll bring it down a little bit more. I suppose I should actually talk. Go back to where it was. Okay, go back to where it was. How's that? Is that okay? It's just, I just want background noise. But as long as you can still hear me, I will keep chattering and then you tell me yay or nay. And I'm gonna, that's almost back to where it's a little more than to where it was. There, that's to where it was. It would help. Okay. Yeah, just a little some. That's good. Just slightly louder. So, before I started this channel, I've mentioned this a bajillion times. So, there was another VTuber who started doing this, and he had it down so that when certain scenes were coming up, action scenes, dramatic scenes, romantic scenes, that he had dedicated playlists. So as soon as one was coming up, he goes, no, I can change to the playlist. And it really added to the experience. And that is something I would love to get to do at some point. It's really just a matter of figuring it out and getting the royalty-free music, that I'm allowed to use and whole things. Oh, excuse me. So yeah, so if the music, it might spike at one or 2 points because the music isn't all uniform, but let me know, how we're sounding. But as long as that's good, I will keep a close eye on chat to make sure that it's not overpowering. But as long as you can hear a little something, and there's only a few things on the playlist so far that I've collected, so it might get repetitive. Thank you. What else? Oh, okay. So I got 2 more things on my list. I'm not sure. Do I talk about? Well, one won't take as long. So I was Sam already knows this because I put it on the Discord, but in recording this week's episode for SAF, for Serdd's Audio Fanfictions, my podcast. If you don't know, I'm demisexual. So that kind of stuff means nothing to me. Like absolutely nothing. When I should put this week's episode is pretty much like one long it's like one long scene of smut with bits and pieces of plot just kind of placed on top. Like just woven in between this very thin strand of plot in between. And it's all very detailed and it goes on for a while. And there are sound effects. So it all gets really embarrassing, and it's when I was younger, it made me very, very, very uncomfortable to the point where I wouldn't do them. And actually, a new one in our Discord. I should turn that off. I should absolutely remember at some point to turn off the freaking sound. La la la. Doo-doo. Yes, Aspen. And Aspen is new to our Discord, and they were mentioning, I'm assuming it's a she, but I'm going to go with they. It's just well-rounded. And they were mentioning how they were a fan of, or a listener of my old stuff, because I've done many podcasts in the past, but this is the most professional get-up that I've ever been through. And whenever it would come to those adulty scenes, I would never do them. I would skip over them to the best of my ability. Which I think takes away from the story. If that's what the authors put in, that's what it's our job to read as a narrator. And voice actors will tell you, you read what is in your script. Whatever is on your copy, that's what you read. Parentheses and grammar and punctuation and all. Yeah. So it's been a bit of a lesson to learn, but so this episode, I'm going through it. I'm just rolling my eyes, like, oh god, here we go again. Which ironically is one of the things she doesn't say. Oh god, forgive my wheezing. Demisexual? Okay. Demisexual, actually, I think I have a good graphic for it. Demisexual is where you have to have a very strong emotional connection before you feel any physical connection. So, where someone would look at a model or an actor or whatever and go, wow, they're hot, demisexuals do not understand that at all. Honestly, you can say that, and 90% of the time we're going, why? Is it not cool in here? Like, are they sweating? Like, so it's one of those where we don't feel sexual attraction or sexual arousal unless we have that bond or that emotional connection first. And even then, it might not be a constant thing. So for some people, especially people who have, for instance, a very active sex drive, demisexuals can be freaks, okay? Just absolute freaks. Because you got to think, it's been pent up for a while because we haven't found our person or our people. But sometimes even the sex drive's just not there. But for the most part, it's however strongly you feel about someone is almost an equal equivalent to how much you want that person. Let me see if I can find. There was a very cute graphic that went around social media a few years ago, and I want to see if I can find it here. And demisexual is different from demi-romantic. Let me see if I can find it here. But it is on the asexual spectrum. Oh, I was really hoping I could find it. If I do find the graphic, I'll put it in our Discord. Yeah, so let me pull this up here. This is not my graphic, so I hope I'm okay to use it. Let me see if I can... Oh, no. So it just gives a definition. Demisexual. A person who doesn't experience sexual attraction unless they form a strong emotional connection with someone. So there's that. But it's... how did I describe it? Here's a good example of it is... one thing that bothers me. This is my biggest pet peeve. And I can never read any kind of fic that includes this. I can't watch shows that include this because it just doesn't compute. Is people cheating on each other. I don't get it. I don't understand. And it bothers me when it's like, oh yeah, it's a normal thing. The fuck you say? Like, no, it's not. Because for me, it's, right? I'm going, if you're having sex with someone, you have to love that person. And that's just the way that my brain computes these things. So if you're able to go off and have your dalliances, then the emotion wasn't strong enough to hold you. And you shouldn't have been together in the first place. Or you should have cut off the relationship before it got to that point. Is my feeling. Which I really want to find this. I don't think I even saved it on my phone. I saved it in Instagram. Oh, Ghost is in Discord. Okay, I'm going to do this live. Yo, exclamation mark. Get to the stream now, exclamation mark. We're all waiting. Exclamation mark. There, I just sent that. Like, you are committed. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, is it you're live? Ghost is losing it. Yes, exclamation mark. It's 8 o'clock, comma. Where are you? Question mark. Exclamation mark, whatever, all the things. There. I am calling out Ghost. They're on the Discord and they're going, I look forward to stream. we're here. Oh, it's live. And then he had and then they have a picture of a running baby. So I'm sure they'll be here soon. But yes, I'm absolutely calling them out. So yeah, so for me to voice sexual scenes, okay, it's not awkward for me because it's not like I hate this term, but I'm going to use it because it's the only way that people understand. But it's not like I do not get turned on by what I'm reading. It's all acting. Ghost is still typing. Why do you have attitude? I'm trying. I'm just gonna put just like I gotta put all caps for this. Run! There. Poor ghost. But yeah, so when you listen to these things, hey, ghost is here! On time and everything. I know. I was telling the others this. I was saying I was so surprised when both Sam and Book showed up right on time. I'm like, no one ever shows up on time. Yeah, when I start my podfic podcast, I am never reading smut. It's very, very difficult to do. I know one of my favorite VTubers on here, Jojo Talks a Lot, Mr. Underhill. I know that he's is it demisexual, demi-romantic? I can never quite remember. But I know he keeps wanting to do lewd tubing, and I listen to it. I'm like, love, just stop. Just stop. Don't do that to us, because it's also very awkward to listen to. Sam is? I didn't even compute that. Autocorrect. Sam, you're gonna do a podcast? You got to link us. What are you going to read? Lewd wedding? Yeah. What did I call it? Lewd what? Lewd streaming lewd? I can't remember. Lewd VTuber. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be a lewd VTuber, but he keeps trying it out. But I can't remember if it's demisexual or demi-romantic. I cannot remember. And it's not going well because he keeps trying to read it and he keeps embarrassing himself. Is that the word? Well, I don't know, it's awkward, but like married thrice. I know. Well, I was just saying that the newest episode that's going to be coming out hopefully on Friday of Serdd's audio fanfiction podcast. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. This is my brother. One sec. totally read lips my arse. Sorry, everyone. That was my brother. We are trying to coordinate for we're having Mother's Day later because my brother's a police officer and he has days on and days off. And then there's 5 kids that different, like my one brother has 2, my other brother has 3. So 5 kids that we have to, all their things. I'm going to kill ghost, take her toes. What? Why the toes? No. No. Let me see here. I got to read back from all of this ridiculousness because it's all ghost and I honor it. I wonder if there's some of that in, I don't know if there's any of that in Married Thrice. I'd be interested, but you'll be hearing it if there is. Anyone want to guess the words I can totally read lips? Let's see. Oh my god, shut up. I didn't steal that gorilla. It was an ape. Oh, you can't tell the difference. It's going to be named Story Addict Podcast. That's a great name. That's what you said. Don't pretend. So Sam, what are you gonna read? Is it gonna be like published works? Is you thinking fan fiction? What you thinking? I'll be all for it. Honestly, I love listening to audiobooks, especially the free ones that are on podcasts. So if you want to share it in this chat, abso-freaking-lutely. And then share it in the Discord as well when you get it set up. And if you need any help, I'm more than happy to offer any kind of assistance. Really? Fan fiction all the way. Ooh. Okay, but like what fandoms? Are we going to be competing in this, Sam? If we're going to be competing, I don't know. I'll support you, but I'd be bitter. Oh my god. It's true. I am almost physically incapable of lying. So if you tell me, I will always tell the truth. It's fact. I'd love to read books, but I'm scared of copyright. No, we'll be staying away from BL stuff. Fair. With books, it's interesting. I'm not competitive. I roll over and I'm bitter about it though. There. Yeah, I just roll over. Sorry, I'm correcting you the most passive aggressive way I can possibly come up with. Staying away from BL stuff. I'd still listen to whatever you got. What was I gonna say? Oh, I was talking about how you need me to type the 2 D's in your name, huh? Yes. So we like different vibe from you. Don't worry. What, Sam? Why? I feel like that was almost purposely done. I'd love to know what kind of fandoms you'd be doing. So I do. So I mentioned this again in the Discord, but I will be doing some Harry Potter stuff eventually. I want to start one of my most popular stories ever. Ghost, I love that we can be petty like this. There's a bond there. Petty AF, and I'm here for it. No, I send it before you send the message. Right? Don't learn from Ghost. They're just a bad influence. But yeah, I'm one of my most popular stories from my old podcast that I never actually finished because it's so blinking long is Vox Corpus or Vox Corporis, however you pronounce that. It's a Harry Potter, Harry Hermione fanfic. To this day, I think the first 15 minutes of chapter 1. I think it's either first 15 minutes of the first chapter up on the YouTube channel, and it is still, even though it's one of my shortest videos, still one of my most watched. So I know that people are waiting for that one. I'm just being a bitch and not doing it as quickly as people would like. So as soon as November Secrets gets done, I will be going on to Vox Corpus. Oh, actually, you guys can answer a question for me. Is anyone here a Harry Potter fan that knows generally the idea in the stories? Okay, good. Sam, you can help me with this. Is it okay that I call you Sam? Or did you... I love being late in your vids so that you get... So, I don't know if I said yes to. Oh, I asked if anyone here is a Harry Potter fan. Watched all the movies. Okay. Excuse me. Sam is okay. Wonderful. Thank you. And I apologize. I may be a little phlegmy tonight. The allergies are really bad right now. We're experiencing a bit of a wave of allergy pollen crap. Read the books. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so a little backstory. If you've never heard of Vox Corpus or Vox Corporis, read the books. It takes place in Harry's 4th year, but the story actually starts when Harry comes back with Cedric, and it addresses in a very real way the fuck you say children's books. Ghost. We're gonna have words. Harry Potter is a children's book. Oh, my back just got right up. So fuck you say. Okay, so the story starts out when Harry comes back after bringing Cedric's body back and after everything that's happened. And so it addresses the trials that he's been through, the torture that he's been through, the horrible things he's seen, and it addresses it all in a very adult, honest way. So I didn't mean it like that. Calm down. I mean, like MCs being kids. Fair. Okay, but okay, this is a good question for you. So this story in the first, not the first chapter, but the second chapter. So at the very, very beginning, it's Harry, Hermione. It is all romance, but at the very beginning, think of it in adult themes. Harry comes back. He's still suffering from the Cruciatus curse. Everyone is running around, doesn't know what's happening, is interrogating the Mad-Eye imposter. Cedric's dead. Everyone's looking for someone to blame, and oh my god, Voldemort's back. So there's all this craziness going on, and here's Harry just standing in the corner of the room, and he's comatose. Like he's only standing from because that's all he knows how to do, and he's just standing there watching everything, and he hears Barty's, I think it's Barty Crouch Jr.'s confession, and he hears that Voldemort's back, and he hears like confirmation and all this, and so McGonagall takes him aside and kind of just passes him off to Hermione. And now they're both 14 at this. This is where the question comes from. They're both 14. Well, Harry's 14, Hermione's 15. In this, Hermione kind of like wraps him up. Okay, I'll take care of you, Harry, because it's Harry, so she's got to do her saving Harry thing. And in it, they end up having sex. It's not sexy. It's purely a comfort thing, a being grounded thing. And it's not like there's no rape or anything. Non-judgmental person. I'm sensitive. No, it's okay. It's okay. No, I got what you meant. No, you're okay. It's all right. You're still here. You're always welcome here, Ghosty. You're fine. But so in this scene, where I'm struggling with in voicing this story is, would I get in trouble from people from reading the story as is? Because there is sex, it does happen, but it's just this one little part in the story, but it's so crucial because it shows Harry coming back to himself and realizing that he's alive and he's he's not dead, and this is after seeing his parents and Cedric and bringing them back. So it addresses the trauma in a really real way. And I just wonder if that would be okay, or do I cut it out? Because the author released 2 versions. She released yes. So she released one that included that, and then she got so much flack from it. Like, she got so much hate and diatribe from that she re-released it without that in it, but she just cut it out, and then, excuse me, and then I think she left the fandom afterwards. So it's tough, but I respect the crap out of her, because when she's taking these kids and she's trying to tell an adult story, and it really does lend to the actual characters and what they're going through. Because Hermione has this moment where she realizes, like, she understands perfectly what's happening. Harry's kind of out of it, but she understands what's happening. She understands that she's going to allow this to happen. She understands that she just wants to be there. She wants to confirm for herself that he's still here and still alive. And so you've got these kids dealing with very adult themes and the disconnect of that. So it's one of my most favorite stories. It's one of the most I would argue one of the most famous stories in the fandom, especially Harry Hermione ships. So it will definitely be airing. I'm just not sure. That's the only thing that's kept me from not putting it out there just yet, because I'm not sure how people will feel. But it is important, I feel. So yeah, there's that. That's my heaviness for this stream. Let's see here. But yeah, Sam, whenever you get yours up and running, absolutely share it with everyone, and on the Discord and in here. And I'd love to see it. Let's see. I don't think. Just say a warning that there is, and this is only the time it happens in the story. Yeah, that's true. Maybe just say a quick summary of what happens. What is demonstrating if people are... And you know what? That might be exactly the perfect thing to do. Because I did do that with the last, or chapter 2 of Her Way, where I had to put the little ding, ding, ding sound so that people knew, skip this. I don't know, since I haven't read it, but I highly agree. Yeah. Big warning. And I'll just put, when you hear this sound, there is underage sex. If you wish to skip it, go to this this number or this time in the story or something like that. I think that's, you know what, Sam? I think you're exactly right. I think that's exactly what I should do. Yeah. Okay. That's good. Yay! I'm excited. So I still have to finish November's Secret. So that's still going to be a while. Because I don't just want to leave it unfinished, because I am notorious for leaving fics unfinished. So that's good. Yeah, that should do it. Perfect. Also, okay. So 10 out of 10. Sam for the win. Solving problems. Sam, you can just mic drop and go. Like this. No, don't go. I didn't mean that. But yes, for the win. Thank you so much. Moving right along, there's one more thing that I wanted to address in my announcement thingies before we got started, because I need your help to keep an open secret. I share it with everyone once my podcast. Yes, absolutely. And again, I have had multiple podcasts over the years. So if you ever need any help setting anything up, or have any questions on how to do anything, absolutely, please don't even hesitate to ask. I love being a help center. That's my favorite part of my job. So I need you guys to help keep an open secret. I have a celebrity crush. And it's a bad one. Bad in that it surprises even me with how much I like this person. And now they have a live stream. And don't judge me when I put out like who it is, but I will put out where you can see them, and they're very funny. And it's not good. It's not good. I'm so embarrassed by it. but then they have a live stream. And I'm watching it like during my lunch hour at work, and I've got my headphones on, and I can feel my face getting red and red and red and just giggling. Now, I'm giggling because they're funny, but it's a problem. And if they have a significant other, do not tell me. Like, I swear to God, don't tell me. I don't want to know, because if I know that they have a significant other, I will force myself to stop liking them in this way. And I'm enjoying this, so don't ruin this for me. Okay. Should I put who it is, or should I put their stream? Wait, let me see if they're streaming now. I doubt it, because he doesn't know what he's doing yet, and it's so cute. See? No, he's currently offline. That's probably a good thing. Oh, let me just make sure that it doesn't. Don't. There, okay. So yeah. Now to drop all our money on subs. I thought I turned off my sound. Yeah. Well, that's the one thing, is that remember how I said I turtle? I will lurk until he never chats again, but I will not say anything. I will not log on. I made sure to only follow when he had finished streaming, so that he wouldn't see my name on the screen. Oh my God, it's so embarrassing. Oh my God, it's so embarrassing. You'd think at my age I'd be over this, but no, I am high school fangirling with a crush, and it's ridiculous. And it's the class clown theater kid that I like, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. I can't even. One sec, I have to blow my nose. I know, I'm ridiculous. I'm absolutely ridiculous, and I own it. Because he's famous, and what if he comes to Toronto one day, which is close to where I live and where all my fan conventions are, and what if he comes, and what if I, like, ask him a question, if I can, build myself up to that, and what if I ask a question and they say, what's your name? And then I say, my name is Serdd, and he's like, oh, you're on my streams, and I'm like, oh my fuck, I die. So, I can't do that. I think you're underestimating how crazy I am. I will lurk forever, but I will never... Tell them I like that. Oh, these freaking allergies. So should I put... I don't know. Should I share their thing so that you guys can follow him too? Let me see. I muted that. Oh, no, I did. I muted that. I didn't turn it off. But he's such a clown. And he's... I don't know. I can't help myself. I'm just... Okay. All right. I'll put it in. I'll put it in the chat so that I'm not Oh wait. Can I do that? Is that allowed or not allowed? I don't know if that's allowed. So I'll just put his name. Now remember, this is a celebrity crush. So like it'd never happen. Also, don't judge me. Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. There. That you can copy paste that into Twitch. He is ridiculous and goofy, and he's a voice actor, and I have mentioned him a bajillion times as my favorite voice actor, and then I see him in person. I'm like, oh my God, you're so cute. I'm like, oh my God, you're just as awesome as I thought you would be, and you're so good. So yeah, there's that. But again, don't judge me. We should probably get to streaming at some point, right? And I think I only have yes. Yes. He is. And if you watch his streams, you can't not see them. And I just want to point this out there. it's not his characters that I have feelings for. It's honest to goodness him. So I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I'm gonna judge. Oh gosh. I got so excited there I started crying. That's frustrating. Witches have great voices. My favorite thing, so I've been to a lot of fan conventions. I have met a lot of voice actors. All of them, no, I shouldn't say all of them, but most of them are fantastic people. But I do find that a lot of them are quite, saying a little bit negative about their jobs and about what they do in the voice acting thing. And he's not. And he's like, I love my job and I will always do my job. And I appreciate that. You would be surprised how many voice actors go on, and because they go to the conventions and they have like not how-tos, but Q&As, and everyone asks, oh, how do I get into it? I really want to do this, and how did you get started, and all of this stuff. And so many of them really well-known people too. Like, I could throw out some names and you would know. And they're like, why would you ever want to? And it's not what you think, and anime only makes up 10% of my overall income. And I'm like, I know that, but you still gotta love what you do though, right? And he's not, and he's always awesome, and I will follow him forever, but I will be lurking in the background. He will never know I exist. So yeah, but I love that his reactions are the same as the reactions that I would have in those same situations if I allowed myself to be on camera, which I don't, so that I don't have to put on makeup or get dressed properly or make funny faces at people. But yeah, okay, so we are going to get started at some point. How far into we? 47 minutes of just chatting. Jesus. I do apologize to all the people who are watching this at some point. Yes, he has done many. He has done many. You could actually probably mention almost any, not even almost, you could probably mention any well-known, even only slightly known animes, and he probably does a character in them. Yeah. I would like to, one of these days, I have episode ideas that aren't just reading, but one of the things that I'd love to do is to get clips of all of our favorite animes and just show them. But like little, like almost 30-second clips. Excuse me, or more than 30 seconds, but little clips, and we do a media share. I would love to do that because all of my favorites would incidentally probably be Ian's Ian scenes. Kicha, when he falls into the hole with the bugs and that scream, that's what made me want to get into anime voice acting. I can always hear his voice in my head from Mitsuhide. But you gotta get that checked out, son. Or you're gonna turn into one of the infamous paper people. The way he said it, and that wasn't that, but yeah. Oh god, if you've I don't know if anyone watched the newest Sherlock that was on Funny Roll. There you go, Funny Roll, Funimation and Crunchyroll. Yes, and it's not even a scene that he voices. It's, oh my god, I'm not gonna, because I would love to show it one day. It's okay. And then another episode that I would love to do is our most ridiculous or favorite tags that you've come across in fanfic. I've started making a list. Moriarty, yes, okay, yes, that one. Do you remember the part where he comes out of the sauna and he just shakes himself off? I was dying. I was in literal tears. Oh heavens. The part where he just goes and he starts shaking it, and you hear it. I can't even. Let me see. Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. I don't think I'll get in trouble for sharing it, but I really want to find it. Is it just called Moriarty? Moriarty? Oh my god. I know. I know. I know. I'll make a fan of you yet. Literally. All the best peoples. No, wait, really? Wait, really? Ghost, are you serious? I thought he mentioned, but it could have been in past tense. Yes. Okay, I was thinking of a different anime, so let me find this one. Don't you dare. We are supposed to be distracting you, Sam. You're not supposed to learn anything well while we're on. It would help if I spelled Sherlock right. I'm sure that would help. Oh. Where is it? So happy you existed. Go right here. See, that's the library's all about, bringing people together. Get a little. I know. Where do you get off? Being productive and crap. We're not productive here. Oh, don't play that. Okay, good. Oh, don't play that either. Shit. No. Okay, that's 4. Okay, wait. I think I can get rid of this. Don't play that either. Okay. Because I'm spelling this crap wrong. Can someone spell Sherlock for me, please? No, damn you. Sherlock. I was spelling it right. What the fuck's your problem? Stop. I would never dare. I do not have that kind of no. I'm not it. Thank you. Sure. Oh, I am spelling it wrong. Okay. S-E-R, not U-R. Thank you. Laughs near me. Is straight Asin. Wow. I'm amazed. Can we all just throw some love Sam's way? Cause that's super freaking impressive. I was smart, but I never had the gumption to keep up with it. So I applaud and respect the shit out of that. Good for you. I'm still going to try to corrupt you, but I respect that. Ay, yo. Spelled the wrong goddamn thing again. Try this. Okay. Shit. Okay. I'm still trying to find this scene where he sticks. Okay. Wait. I'll at least get the name of the damn thing right, because I'm not getting it all right. And no, sure. I'll at least get the name of the friggin' anime right. You're gonna listen to someone who studies, like, a lot? I respect that. I didn't. I was one of those arseholes where if I liked the subject, I aced it. If I didn't like the teacher, then fuck you, I'm not doing nothing. I was one of those. So naturally, I did really well in college and university. But anytime that I had a teacher who was interfering or talked to me like I was stupid, I said, fuck you very much. Oh, I love that guy. I loved him in Morosu Mononoke. Let's see here. In here, you're free. I'm trying to find Sherlock in this. And then I realize, after all the way through the list, that I can just simply curl F and find it. But I figure I'm already halfway there. I'm not halfway there. Curl F it is. Okay. Oh, that's right. I forgot he did Celestino on Yuri on Ice. I'm just going through these things. S-H-E-R. What? The fuck you say? Well, maybe it's not called Sherlock, and that's where I'm getting... He played Sherlock. I know it. You arseholes. Ah. Yeah, Celestino. He played Celestino's voice in Yuri on Ice. Yuri on Ice. Oh my goodness. Why is it not on? Oh wait, maybe I have to go up. No, just that one? And down? Just that one. Oh, and he played Romano in Hetalia. He plays friggin' everyone. Okay. I'm going to find this fucking anime. Alright, he was on Food Wars too. He was in everything. Just everything. Oh, okay. I was looking in the wrong place. Saints Must Die. Exposed. Food Wars. Sakura Wars. Screw it. Okay. I'm Yui on Ice. Sorry, goodness. I tried to put a video that I took tonight of Yui on his walk and in our Discord, and it's still not letting me. So apparently my phone takes too big of pictures. So yeah, I will have to figure out a way, because I do want to... It was cute because he met a dog through the fence. Are you saying I'm boring? Which, yeah, hey, no fair. Okay. I'm going to blow my nose one more time, and then we're going to get started on this. Oh, that's good, because I only have... Alright, we're going to pet Lucky Cat, and then we're going to get started. Ghost, are you sassing me again? Are you sassing me? Ghost is sassing me. Chapter 16. Let me just turn the music down a little bit. Seriously? No other name? Oh, shit. Just a sec. Oh. So behind the story, I'm slowly watching that. Oh yeah, my expressions as I'm blowing my nose because the camera's frantically trying to keep up and I've got my hands in my face. Sam, to catch you up. Wait, we are on chapter 16, right? I'm not just making this up. Let me just go back. Young Master Home as well. This world there can be... Oh, yes. Okay, so uh, Luan Cheng and Lin Qingyu have gone to visit the temple. Your eyes widen. uh, okay, that's fine. I'm also trying to remind myself. So they have gone to meet the national teacher. Okay, I thought I was skipping places. Okay. Just read for the audience. Okay, audience. Chapter 16. Seriously? No other name? Lin Qingyu's figure was hidden within the peach grove. Around here, there were few people, and the conversation between the two came to his ears more clearly. No wonder Luan Cheng was willing to come this time. He must have come here for Zhu Jianyan. You are the audience. Luan Cheng has always been the type to not stand if he could sit, to not sit if he could lie down. Oh my god, it's after my own heart. Since their marriage, Luan Cheng has only gone out twice. Once was to come here, and the other was to go to the Lin residence. The things that could get him moving must be things that even salted fish thought were important. Yes, you. He remembered that Luan Cheng once showed great interest in stories about supernatural beings. He also mentioned wanting to meet this national teacher, which legend said had access to the heavens and knew the ways of ghosts and gods. He never expected he would actually come, let alone manage so easily to meet Zhu Jinyan, to ask this absurd question. Resurrection from the dead and soul transfers. If there was such a thing in the world, how could there still be so much ignorance and resentment? Doctors wouldn't need to cure diseases and save people. They would just learn how to resurrect the dead, wait for the patients to die, and then resurrect them. Wouldn't that be simpler and easier? Xu Zhenyan seemed a little surprised. Whether he was surprised by Luan Cheng's question or at his straightforwardness was uncertain. He pondered for a bit and said, I can't remember the voice. From ancient times to the present, there have been many people who have pursued immortality and resurrection from the dead. Among them, many are emperors who would have made their marks on the annals of history. What the Son of Heaven cannot do with what the Son of Heaven cannot do with all the power of the world does not exist. Once the human body is gone, it is gone. It dissipates and passes away, unable to be retrieved by anyone. As for a soul transfer, Xu Zhenyan smiled. Pray, forgive my ignorance, but I do not know. Luan Cheng raised his eyebrows. Turns out there are things even the national teacher does not know. I do not know because I have yet to see it with my own eyes, Xu Zhenyan said. But simply because I have not seen it does not mean it does not exist. Luan Cheng let out an "Oh." Though no longer interested in talking, he still politely said, as is to be expected of the Daiyu's only national teacher. Listening to His Eminence's words is equal to 10 years of study. This was saying that all Xu Jianyan said was insignificant nonsense. Xu Jianyang kept a cleansing spring breeze-like smile on his face the entire time. Reminds me of Jing Guangyo. If there has been a case of soul transfer,
I would really like to see it. However, I am afraid the person involved wouldn't speak so readily, because, Luan Chang said, because he knows no one would believe him. Even if he were to be believed, it would cause a lot of bother. Xu Zhenyan smiled and said, Young master is wise. Young master, Huan Tong emerged from nowhere, pushing along Luan Chang's wheelchair. Luan Chang must have gotten tired from walking, and he was dispatched to get the wheelchair from the carriage. Following his voice, Luan Chang and Zhu Zhenyan both looked over. Then Qingyu walked out calmly. Young Master Hu? Luan Chang used his hand to prop his forehead. He looked at him with a smile, but addressed Yu Zhenyan as he said, The national teacher. National teacher? This is my wife. Lin Qingyu was startled. This was the first time he has heard Luan Chang address him like that, and he felt very awkward. He didn't know how Luan Chang could say it so naturally. Although he resided in the Hu mansion, and he and Luan Chang were nominally husband and wife, neither of them took this predestined marriage seriously. Now that his mother-in-law, who found him so objectionable, has also been confined, he could now, from time to time, forget about this aspect. That he was Luan Chang's wife. Upon catching sight of Lin Qingyu, the smile in Yu Zhenyan's eyes grew even more. Madam Lu. Lin Qingyu's hands in his sleeves clenched slightly. Sorry. Lin Qingyu's hands in his sleeves clenched slightly. He said calmly, Greetings to the national teacher. Madame Lu is blessed with beauty and grace. Young Master Hu is very lucky. Lu Wencheng also stared at Lin Qingyu and smiled. Yes. He openly admired Lin Qingyu, as though admiring a most splendid peach blossom in full bloom. Lu Wencheng's gaze made Lin Qingyu a little wary, but he could tell that Lu Wencheng didn't look at him the same way as the lechers did. Lu Wencheng really was just enjoying the scenery. But Lin Qingyu still threw a knife-sharp look at him. Does this look good? Lu Wencheng looked away, but the corners of his lips still ticked up in a smile, as if to say, I'm not talking nonsense. A beautiful scenery and a happily married couple. All we're missing is good wine. Xu Zhenyan called in a little... Sorry, try that again. Xu Zhenyan called in a little monk and said, Go and fetch the wine I buried under the peach tree the year before. Lin Qingyu said, Young Master Hu is sick. It is not advisable for him to be drinking wine. I was negligent. Xu Zhenyan raised a cup for the two of them. Then I will replace the wine with tea and toast to the both of you. Lu Wencheng was about to pick up his teacup, but seeing that Lin Qingyu had absolutely no intention to move, he quickly put his hand back. No ripple appeared on his face, but in his heart, he felt like an absolute fucking dog. He knew that Lin Qingyu was unhappy seeing the national teacher. Later, if Lin Qingyu was unhappy, he wasn't going to be happy either. Oh, how pitiful he was. Xu Jinyun's smile remained undimmed. It seems that Madame Lu does not wish to give me this face. Lin Qingyu said, March 11th, in the year of Gui Wei, Chengxi. Xu Jinyun nodded. If I remember correctly, this should be Madame Lu's birth date. The national teacher has a good memory, Lin Qingyu said coldly. Like young Master Hu, I, too, have something I am puzzled about, for which I wish to ask the national teacher for advice. Xu Jinyun smiled and said, I am happy to offer advice, but I ask Madame Lu to speak what is on his mind. Lin Qingyu gently began to speak. Why me? Xu Jinyun seemed to have guessed Lin Qingyu's question and pointed upwards. Such is the will of the heavens. The will of the heavens? Huh. Lin Qingyu couldn't hide the ridicule in his words. When I was young, I wondered... When I was young, I wandered everywhere with my mentor. There were often superstitious people who, when sick, wouldn't see a doctor or take their medicine. They would rather find some sorceress and purposefully make a mystery of simple things. If the illness is cured, then everything was fine. If the illness was not cured, then it was the will of heaven. The fate of the patient has already been fixed, and mortals have no way to reverse the rotation of the sky. Is this the will of heaven that the national teacher speaks of? Whether this is the will of heaven or not, the two of you should know better than I, Xu Jinyun said calmly. After the Chengxi, did young Master Hu's condition not improve? Lin Qingyu objected. It was just a coincidence. Xu Jinyun smiled helplessly. If Madame Yu thinks so, then there is nothing that I can say. Liu Wenchang thought for a while and said, Such being the case, can the national teacher tell us the process by which you came upon with your calculation? Or are the mysteries of heaven not to be revealed? Xu Jinyun looked pensive. Naturally, the mysteries of heaven are not to be revealed, but it won't hurt to occasionally divulge a bit of it. That day, young Master Hu was critically ill. Madam and Master Hu entrusted the Empress with asking me for help. I drew up a divination diagram and figured that young Master Hu was not destined to die yet. If he was able to obtain a precious person, perhaps he would have a slim chance of survival. That's all. Liu Wenchang smiled. But now, I have someone precious, and yet I am still not long for this world. It can be seen that the Chengxi was of no use. Next time, it might be best that the national teacher not point to mandarin ducks so haphazardly, so as not to harm someone's future. Mandarin ducks are soulmates. Lin Qingyu heard these words and glanced sideways at the person beside him. Liu Wenchang had said everything he wanted to say. Xu Jinyun sighed lightly. Young Master Hu can be so indifferent to life and death. I am ashamed of my inferiority. It is a pity that your fate... Xu Jinyun paused his words, turning to Liu Wenchang with a different look in his eyes. Perhaps young Master Hu goes by some other name from Liu Wenchang? I can use your alternative name to draw upon another deviation program for you. Lu Wanchang looked directly at Zhu Zhenyan without batting an eyelid. His eyes were hidden under long eyelashes. After a moment, he replied, I don't. Qingyu has heard a little of Lu Wanchang's name. It was chosen by his biological mother, who had died prematurely during childbirth. After his birth mother passed, Lu Wanchang was raised by a wet nurse and was later raised by Liang Shi herself. Whether by the wet nurses or by his stepmother, Lu Wanchang was never given a nickname. If so, then why did Lu Wanchang hesitate before answering this question? Lin Qingyu remembered the annotations in the Lin An travel notes. He also remembered some of Lu Wanchang's nonsense. When they first got married, Lu Wanchang wasn't even clear on his age. He never took Lu Wanchang's words to heart, only taking it as him feigning madness and acting like an idiot. Thinking about it now, there were many doubtful things. Resurrection from the dead, soul transfer. Were there really such things in the world? How could that be? There must be some other hidden secrets. Lu Wanchang was hiding something from him. As the three talked, the sky gradually darkened. A little monk reminded them to go back down early, otherwise the road would be difficult to traverse at night, and the trip would be unavoidably bumpy. Zhu Zhenyan stood up and said, I wish the two of you a safe trip. I won't be seeing you out. Lin Qingyu nodded indifferently. Zhu Zhenyan spoke decently. He was cultured and refined. He didn't not rely on his special status to suppress others. He was just barely able to avoid being regarded as annoying. When he comes to seek revenge on him in the future, he could consider using a less toxic drug. Before leaving, Lu Wanchang casually broke off a branch of peach blossoms. The carriage was parked in the main gate of the Changsheng Temple, quite some distance away from the peach grove. The fragile young Master Hu no longer had any energy to walk. He sat in the wheelchair and was pushed along by Huan Tong. He heedlessly fiddled with the branch of peach blossoms. Lethargic. Lin Qingyu walked in the front. The two were immersed in their own thoughts, and for a while no words were exchanged. It was almost dusk by this time, and there were many pilgrims leaving the temple. Huan Tong found that many of the pilgrims walking in front of them would look back. He said unhappily, Young Master Hu, so many people are looking back at our young master. Lu Wanchang gave an absent-minded, oh. Huan Tong stared straight ahead. You don't care at all? He has been following the young master since he was a child, and he knew that the young master disliked it when strangers too blatantly stared. He, too, didn't like when passers-by kept sneaking glances at the young master. It made him feel uncomfortable. Lu Wanchang said strangely, Is this something to care about? Everyone likes to look at beautiful people. Huan Tong mocked. This married couple who've made a bond of brotherhood really is different. Most people would want to hide their wife from the eyes of others, but young Master Hu is so generous, letting everyone have a look. Lu Wanchang smiled. Let them look if they want. Isn't my wife's beauty something I should be proud of? In any case, no matter how much others look, he won't belong to them, and they're left with only being able to see once. Lu Wanchang said Tisk, tisk, tisk. Sympathetically shaking his head. How miserable. Huan Tong murmured quietly. And you talk like he's yours. The smile on Lu Wenchang's face gradually disappeared, but he soon turned relieved. At least I can see him every day, although I won't be able to see him for long. Huan Tong was a little sad. Oh, let me do that again. At least I can see him every day, although I won't be able to see him for long. Huan Tong was a little sad. It was true that he wanted to follow the young master back to the Lin mansion as soon as they could. But after getting along these days, he has grown to really like young Master Hu. If young Master Hu died, he might shed a few tears. Huan Tong casually comforted. It's not yet May. We're still a long way off from winter. Young Master Hu can still look for more than half a year. Winter. Huh. Lu Wenchang looked at Lin Qingyu's back. His eyes narrowed. Then I want to see your family's young master. Red snow cape draped around his shoulders, standing in the falling snow under an umbrella. His cheeks dyed red, and his long hair like ink. Definite eye candy. Lin Qingyu stopped abruptly and turned around slowly, looking towards Lu Wenchang. Huan Tong exclaimed in a low voice, "Oops, you were heard by the young master." The two locked eyes. Lin Qingyu looked at him quietly. Lu Wenchang suddenly had the illusion that what Lin Qingyu was seeing was not his face, but him. Lin Qingyu's voice was slightly cold. Were you being truthful when you said you have no other name? Lu Wenchang's heart tightened, and he teased as usual. It's funny that you ask. If I did, why wouldn't I know? Lin Qingyu, without asking more, said lightly, I hope you can survive the first snow. Yikes. Author's note. At this age, young Master Hu attacked the habit of turning his pen, lacked sleep, was the first in the exam, and would stick to the film? This is already very clear. Then, based on years of experience in the original delay, young Master Hu attacked his real name. The surname should be ... If you guess it right, you'll get a red envelope from the author. So yeah. Author's notes are the best. I don't know how many. I wish they kept them. I do too. That's one of the things I love about when you get these fan translations, when the translators do the author notes. I do really wish that they would keep them, because I know for a fact in Mosheng Tongshu, I know that they had extremely funny author's notes at the end, and I'm really wishing that they had kept them. Wait, in saying that, let me have an official's blessing off my shelf here and see if they did. Pretty pictures. I'm trying to find the next chapter. Another pretty pictures. Okay. So, here's chapter 3. No, they didn't. Damn. And stretch. I would freaking love to get on and do the audiobook for any of Mo Sheng Tongshu's novels. I won't, because they always choose a native speaker, especially for the names, because let's be honest, I butcher them. But I would love to get to do them. Okay, let's go back. Let me see here. Sam, you are the audience. They don't know my ways. Sent a pic to Discord and memes.
One of these days, you have to make me some memes that I can just put that I can actually put on Twitter. I won't even link you to them, and just give me. When Jane got us like salt the fish. That's cute. I like that. Me salting fish. Because you cannot tell me that he is not incredibly relatable. Okay, authors knows the best. Authors new pick made on Discord for you to see. Was that the meme that you mentioned? Yes. I still love the running baby thing you put in the Discord. That's so funny. Let me see. Oh, the meme can apply to the main character too. I know, it's true. Let me see if this. I'm not sure how this will pop up. Ta-da! Yep, it's just a flash. I'm going to pause real quick. I just want to pop my head out and see if Yui is ready for bed yet. 1 sec. By the way, how are my plosives? Is it annoying? Plosives are your P's, B's, those are plosives. You have a different background every time. Yes, I do. I have it so that my wallpaper changes. So you can, it's a setting, and you can, in your displays, those are good, don't worry. Okay, good. You can change your displays to so that it moves every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, half hour to an hour, what have you. I just click to change. Oh, but it changes because I have 2 screens. So if I go this way, it's the actual stream. So if I do it one more time, coot, you'll guess that there's a, as you can see, there's a theme. Okay, hold just one moment. Let me see if Yui is ready for bed. Okay, we're back. I had to go and get. Why do you do this to me? Ah, why is Google on? Okay, let me see if he'll do it. Yui, sniff here. What's that? You want to say hi to peoples? You don't say hi. You're not. You're very quiet. Yes, I love you too. I know. Those are nice kisses. Hi. Mwah. Oh, little baby. You're CP. I know. You just came in from outside. You want to go lay down? Yeah. Mwah. Okay.
Let's get you down. Okay, I'm really back this time. Okay. Are you done? It's really warm in here. You okay? Oh, here. I saved you this. There you go. I'll put it right there for you. You will go chew or are you going to go lay down? Okay, you take your teaspoon. Good boy. Okay. Da, 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 da. I have to go back and see all the ridiculousness that Ghost did. Let me see. Close the record door. Okay. Sam, why you in the chat now? It's ours. Fire, 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 fire. It's okay. You can do hometown as what? You can do hometown as I commit arson. Homework. Oh, that's what it is. Hometown. You can do homework as I commit arson. I switched over from history to math. Oh, I could have helped you with history. I can't help you with math. So dyslexic with numbers. No, doggo. The title of the chapter makes me feel unwelcome. Oh, just a sec. if you mm, if you live with your parents, I'm so sorry for you. If you don't live with your parents, you're so fucking lucky. Christ, that's gonna be a big drama now. You remember earlier how I got the call from my brother? I said just one sec, we're planning a thing for Mother's Day. Brother called me back. He says, just got the pool turned on. Would love it if you guys could come up. We come up and the kids can swim while you guys while we have dinner. Only thing is you can oh just a sec, we're still getting yelled at. And we're still yelling. Awesome. Mm. I locked my door, right? Yeah. Okay, good. Oh geez, she's slamming things. So to give a little background, I gotta be quiet because she's still slamming doors. Um, we have two dogs in our house. We have my Yui, and then my mother got a puppy who, um, let's just say, is not the best behaved, and she doesn't train this dog, and this dog's a little crazy and destructive and not great. So yeah, so we're trying to set up Mother's Day. My brother says, got the pool heated so you guys can come up here. Only thing is, you're more than welcome to bring Yuri, because he's good, but not Ellie, which is my mother's dog.
So, in telling her that, would you prefer to do it here or there? By the way, I can bring Yui, but we can't bring Ellie. So she says, absolutely not, we'll do it here. So now she's all, and I understand, but she's just gone off. I'm like, I didn't say it, it wasn't me, I was just relaying the message. Nope, nope. Then she comes back in. We're just not going to do anything. I've already paid for the food. I can't get the money back. So I'll have to deal with that tomorrow. Joy. Yeah, oof, the drama. I'm going to go right into family be like that, isn't it? I'm like, my brothers almost never talk to me anyways, because there's a big age difference. So they're off doing their own thing, which I get. But I'm like, only when there's things dealing with mother, who's, yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. We'll find out on Sunday how everything goes. Fingers crossed. Ugh. Okay. I'm going to jump straight into chapter 17 and do my best to ignore what just happened. Yeah. And don't worry, Ghosty, I'm sure this isn't about you. Oh, I meant to change that. That's not ghosts and ghosts, that's ghouls and ghosts. I meant to change that and didn't. Crap. I wonder how many others. Anyways. Chapter 17. How come there are so many ghouls and ghosts? Lin Qingyu wasn't planning on getting to the bottom of this with Lu Wencheng. It was inevitable that a person would have secrets that couldn't be told to outsiders. Lu Wencheng didn't want to tell him, and he had no necessary reason to know. Just like the venomous thoughts that popped up in his own heart from time to time, these too were things that no one knew. Except for Lu Wencheng. Lu Wencheng knew everything. Not only him, Lu Wencheng seemed to see through everyone. He spent entire days acting like salted fish, eating and waiting to die. On the surface, he hadn't a single shred of shrewdness, standing aloof from worldly affairs. Then, at certain critical moments, he would wordlessly work out a solution. It made it hard to pin him down. But how? How did Lu Wencheng know everything about him, while what he knew about Lu Wencheng was only just the tip of the iceberg? Lin Qingyu hesitated for a long time. Finally, under the pretense of tidying up the library. Just a moment. Yui is scratching the carpet, making himself a little bad. He's fluffing the carpet. I'm not sure if you can hear that. Are you done? Okay. Sorry. Where was I? Finally, under the pretense of tidying up the library, he asked Hua Lu to help him look for all of Lu Wencheng's calligraphy and writing, rearranging them all again. He didn't know where this uncalled for unwillingness was coming from either. But since he had doubts, searching for answers was only normal. No one liked the feeling of being kept in the dark. Hua Lu was a maid sent from Wen Guogong's mansion. Madame Wen Gugong was concerned about how her grandson was constantly recuperating all the year round. She was afraid he'd feel bored, so she chose a maid with an innocent and artless temperament to send over. Hualu was not only dexterous and agile, but she was also able to recognize words. She very quickly sorted out the things Lin Qingyu wanted in chronological order. Liu Wencheng's handwriting could be traced back to the time when he was an ignorant beginner. For the decade following, the shapes in his handwriting all had traces that could be followed. By the time Liu Wencheng was 15 or 16, the shape and spirit of his characters became quite fixed. The turning point was when Liu Wencheng became critically ill. At that time, Liu Wencheng was unconscious, unable to lift a pen. He remained dizzy and muddled for a month, only coming fully awake on their wedding night. Since then, the spirit in Liu Wencheng's written characters changed. Lin Qingyu picked up a novel that Liu Wencheng had recently read. Leafing through it, he asked, "When did you arrive at the Hu Mansion?" Hua Lu said, replying to Xiaojun, "I have been in the Hu Mansion for 3 years." "What kind of person was young Master Hu before?" Hua Lu thought back and said, "Young Master Hu talked a lot less before. He didn't laugh as much and showed no interest in walking the birds or playing tohu." Hua Lu smiled. "After young Master joined the mansion, not only did young Master Hu's body get better, but his temperament also became a lot more cheerful. Xiaojun really is young Master Hu's lucky star." Lin Qingyu refused to comment. "What did he usually do before?" "Young Master Hu liked to read all kinds of travel notes. His body's not too good, is it? And he's always been trapped in the mansion, so he especially longs to go out. He used to say that if he could just go to Linan once, he could die happy." Hua Lu hit her own mouth. "Oh, this is all. Oh, this mouth of mine, saying such unlucky things." "The bag of lazy-boned salted fish longs to go out?" Lin Qingyu sneered in his heart and asked, "He must have had a good relationship with the madam and the second young lady in the past, right?" "Yes, yes, all that's right. The young master was very filial to the madam, and he cared a lot for the second young lady. Whenever the Gugong mansion sends anything good, he would always think of them first." The big change in temperament could be explained by mood changes brought about by his near-death experience. Then what about Liang Xi and Lu Nantou? Could someone have visited him in a dream and told him that this pair of mother and daughter weren't good people? Lin Qingyu was leafing through a detective novel. He had quite the impression of this book's title. The book was once widely circulated among the common people. When he was studying, his Shishong and Shidi were all obsessed with it. They ended up neglecting their studies and were scolded by the master. Lin Qingyu read 2 random pages. He was starting to become interested and fascinated when he turned to the 3rd page and saw that a person's name was circled. Next to it, a sloppily written note. "This person is the murderer. Lin Qingyu." I can't hear my crickets anymore. I should have thought of that. Okay. Crickets, 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 crickets. We'll have to do that again before I can sort it out once again. It wasn't difficult to see that Liu Wencheng's words were written casually, without deliberately imitating anything. Amidst the laziness was a sense of exquisiteness that couldn't be hidden, very much like the person himself. I know the crickets are gone. I gotta redo the fucking crickets again. I know. Okay, we don't. Okay, just hold. Just wait. Where can I put it? Where can I put it? Where, I can't put it in music because we're already using music. I can't put it in system because. Oh, can I put it? I can put it in system. Okay, okay, just a sec. Just a sec. Just wait. Oh shit. Okay, wait for me. Wait. Stream Deck. Yes. Wait. Yes, I don't want it in music. I want it in um okay, we'll do this. We'll see if this works. Okay, okay. Ready? Crickets. I don't hear anything. Did you hear anything? Shit. Okay. Okay. Wait. I keep wait, is it, do I have to wait. Okay. Wait. I got an idea. Try this. Hi baby. What is it? What's wrong? Okay. This over in this. And try that. And let's see if that works. Okay, we're gonna try crickets one more time. Let me just move some of this stuff over here. And here. Oh. You're seeing this in real time. Okay. Ready for. Do you hear anything? I don't hear anything. Okay. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3, crickets. Still nothing. Damn it. Why is you. It keeps wanting to put it over here, and I don't want it over there. I want it here. Okay, well, I don't know. What's wrong? What's the matter? He's whining. He wants me to do something. Who killed the? I don't know. Someone stepped on the crickets. Oh wait, I got an idea. Can anyone? Is anyone actually listening to the music? I don't think we are, right? No one's actually listening to the. I can't hear it at least. Okay, let me try this. I got crickets. You ready for crickets? This is gonna be loud crickets. Crickets. There. Forget the music. We got crickets. My crickets are taking precedent. That's so weird. You hear it? Yay! Crickets. Well, this story uses crickets so damn often. Oh my goodness. I'm so sorry for this. Hold on one more second. I think Yui wants me to open the window. Just a sec. Really? It's okay. Take your time. So, Sam, why don't you like arson? Um, sorry. It is really, really warm in here with all the lights and everything and all the computers going. So, Yui needed me to open the window. As soon as I did, he's laying in front of it and sleeping. So, it can be pretty because fire is pretty. Slightly destructive. Hi, Serdd. Let's see, what do I have here? Mm,
Mm.
Okay, where were we again? Oh. Oh, right, crickets. Oh, Sam, oh no. Wow, you really are a good student, aren't you? Oh, do you have classes tomorrow? Is that why? You only up till 10? Yo. Okay, well, you know where we are and we'll be here forever. Not actually ever. Um, Anyways, okay, I'll keep going. We'll try to be quick. It wasn't difficult to see that Liu Chang's words were written casually, without deliberately imitating anything. Amidst the laziness was a sense of exquisiteness that couldn't be hidden, very much like the person himself.
Young master, Hua Tong's voice interrupted Lin Qingyu's thoughts. It's time for dinner. Young Master Hu is inviting you to have dinner. Okay, Lin Qingyu said, picking up a pen and dipping it in ink. He neatly wrote the words, "Get lost," beside his comment.
That's cold. I mean, I agree, but come on. May, after the rain, after this, May, after the spring rains, was a good season to eat freshwater fish. Today's ginger crucian, oh wait, yeah, crucian carp. That's fair. That's fair. Aw, that's love. Yay. Well, we love having you both here. It's so good. There quite literally wouldn't be a chat without you. So we love having you here. I do. I applaud that because I do not have that kind of self will. What is that? Self discipline. That's what I was looking for. That kind of self discipline. There have been many a nights where I have been watching streamers up until the wee hours of the morning, and I know that I need to go to sleep, and I know that they're recorded, and I can watch them at another time, but I cannot help myself. So I do applaud that. That speaks to. There's a reason you're the smartest one here, Sam. I think I speak for Ghost and myself. And for the few of you who are lurking, I see you. I appreciate you. Okay, where am I here? Oh, May. May, after the spring rains, was a good season to eat freshwater fish. Today's ginger crucian carp soup was very well done. The fish was soft and tender, and the fish soup was savory and sweet. Lin Qingyu never has much of an appetite, but even he couldn't help himself to a bit more. On the contrary, Liu Wenchang didn't even touch it. Then Qingyu asked, "You don't like fish?" "I like it." "Then how come I haven't seen you eat any?" Liu Wenchang smiled and said, "There are too many fish bones in crucian carp. It's too troublesome to eat. Forget it. The other dishes are also delicious." Then Qingyu, crickets. Hualu stepped forward and said, "Then I'll help the young master pick out the fish bones." "No need," Then Qingyu said coldly. "Don't indulge him." Liu Wenchang covered his lips with his hand and said to Hualu, "So fierce. He's so fierce." Lin Qingyu said coldly, "Do you actually think you're being quiet?" When the two of them were almost finished eating, a young man announced from outside, "Young master, Xiaojun, Manager Zhang is here." Oh, crickets. I hope the crickets aren't too loud, but I love my crickets. Sorry, pause. Ghost, The fuck you say?
What?
Is you a straight A pre-med student? I mean this in the nicest way possible. Are you joking or are you serious? I believe you either way. Just curious. Really? Oh, that's right. Because you mentioned, like, on one of our first episodes, the first time. I'm serious. I'll stop. That's right. You mentioned that you had just finished exams, right? Or you were just studying for a test? In one of our first episodes, you mentioned that, I think. I don't know if I'm going to stay pre med, but so far, yes. All right. Hold that thought. As soon as I finish chapter 17, I'm coming back to that. Because I was curious. Okay. Master Zhang is here. Lin Qingyu put down his chopsticks. Let him in. Zhang Shichan reported to the two Nananhu mansions income and expenditure for April. He specifically mentioned one master, the third young master of the Hu mansion, Liu Chaosong. Chaosong, yeah. Liang Shi had given birth to Liu Chaosong. He was a he was a through and through legitimate son and heir. He was also the youngest master of the Hu mansion. But most importantly, he was healthy, and everyone in the mansion knew that the title of Nanan Hu would fall to him sooner or later. Lin Qingyu and Liu Chaosong had met several times around the mansion, but he didn't know the other very well. He had only heard that Liu Chaosong was good at songs and poems, and that he was even following the Wan Yu school. Elegant and unrestrained, he had attracted many of the ladies of the pleasure quarters to secretly pledge their hearts to him. Despite this kind of literary talent, when it came to the imperial examinations, he was still behind Sun Shan, causing Nanan Hu to berate him and forbid him from having any more dealings with the women from the brothels. Outwardly, Liu Chaosong has been exercising a lot of restraint. As for the actual situation, outsiders wouldn't be able to tell. Jiang Shishan said that Liu Chaosong's page had gone to the accounting office to make a fuss yesterday, saying that the accounting office had embezzled their monthly allowance and daily stipend. In the past, Liu Chaosong's don't know why that's tripping me up. Liu Chaosong's Qingzai Pavilion received 500 taels a month, but now only 300 taels were given. In the past, Liu Chaosong had 5 dishes and 1 soup, but now there was only 4 dishes and 1 soup. We have followed the rules of the Hu Mansion for handling all. We have followed the rules of the Hu Mansion for handling all cases of the various courtyards. We have never shortchanged them. I'm afraid that the page from the Qingdai Pavilion swearing so means that it is not that we have given less, but that they have taken more in the past. Then Qingyu said, It seems that Liu Chaosong is afraid that his mother will be released by Nanan Hu too early. Is my audio echoing at all? Or sounding fizzy or fuzzy at all? Please let me know. It sounds fuzzy on my end.
Liu Wenchang took a bit of the crucian carp with his chopsticks, slowly picking out all the fish bones. Perfect, thank you. He gave a long, drawn-out sigh. Just as I have captured a few monsters, more demons have descended. Oh, why are there so many evils? Lin Qingyu frowned. Eat. Don't speak. Oh. Oh. Jiang Shishan held back a smile and asked Lin Qingyu for instructions. In my opinion, the Chengdai Pavilion will not let this matter go. Xiaojun, what do you think should be done about this matter? Naturally, we will handle matters according to the rules, Lin Qingyu said. If they want to make trouble, let them make trouble. The bigger the trouble, the better. It would be best if they make enough trouble to disturb Nana and Hu. Unsurprisingly, a few days later, Liu Chaosong's wet nurse, Chumomo, went to the accounting office to make a scene. Just wait, hold up. His wet nurse? How the fuck old is he? For those of you who don't know, a wet nurse is what you would have in rich families. They would be usually women who had just had children or who had had miscarriages. They're like, anyways, they would be lactating. So a wet nurse is the nurse that would breastfeed the child when the lady of the house or the mother wouldn't, because it wasn't in fashion. It just wasn't done. They would also be the nanny, and they would do all of the everything. They were essentially the mother. But wet nurses typically got switched out for either nannies or a governess. You only had a wet nurse while you were feeding. To which I say, the fuck? How old is this guy that he still has his wet nurse? Okay, maybe in ancient China they kept them on longer. I don't know. I'm going to say this and it will sound vulgar, but I apologize. Let's just hope he's not still on the tit. That's all I got. He's a little old for this. That emoji actually kind of perfectly sums up my face right now. Huh? Okay. Chumomo. Okay. Wet nurse. Got you. Pretty sure he's like in college, but okay. All right. We'll go with it. This time she kicked up quite a big fuss. Oh, Jesus. Chumomo lay on the ground, rolling around, crying and wailing, accusing Pan Yanang and the Xiaojun of taking advantage of the madam's illness to disregard the rules of the household, using their authority for personal gains, treating the legitimate heir harshly. She was even requesting for Master Hu to come out and give them justice. Jesus. When Lin Qingyu arrived at the accounting office, Pan Yanang had also rushed over. She looked at Chumomo, who was acting like some madwoman in a public market. She said at a loss, Xiaojun, this... Lin Qingyu walked up to Chumomo, and Chumomo's wails became even more and more heartrending. I don't know if I can't... Okay, it's late right now. I've got a very angry mother in a few rooms down, so I'm not going to do this as loud as it calls for. I apologize. The voice acting on this will not be what it should be. Apologies. Let's give her a Molly Weasley voice. Do you still know the Molly without the accent? You can try it. I have led the... No, I don't know. I'm going with it, though. I have led the madam down. The madam is sick, and now the third master is also sick. Oh, wow, this is really fucking annoying. Let me see here. Let me think.
Did she say how? No, because Chumomo wet nurse. She'd be probably in her 30s or 40s, I would say. But she's being a mad woman. Thoughts on what this voice should sound like? If you give me a well-known character, I can usually imitate them, accent or no. No, I can't think of a name. I'm sorry, my brain is tired. Mm, I know. I know. I'm drawing. It's like when they say something funny. Tony's but lighter. Tony's. Eh? Tonks. Oh, fucking Tonks from the movie. Hmm. Let me just look. Okay, I was thinking of something a little squeakier, but I can't come up with anything, so we'll try that. Uh, okay, I don't want to be this loud. Okay. I have let. Oh god, no! I automatically go British. Fuck it. Okay, I'm just pick one of your regular ones. I can't do any. I can't do seem to do any Harry Potter ones without throwing in the accent eventually, and this is taking way too long. I'm just gonna go with it. I have let the madam down. The madam is sick, and now the third master is also sick. A majestic whose mansion doesn't even provide a doctor for the third young master. You see that the third young master is in better health than the eldest young master, and you want to drag him down. Lin Qingyu asked. The third young master is sick. Jiang Shishan said, Yes, Chumomo says that their courtyard has had no money to pay for a doctor, so they are demanding that we send 200 taels of silver. I told them that we will be calling a doctor for them, the expenses for which will be deducted from the general account of the house. Afterward, she became like that. Lin Qingyu said, The third young master is in so much better health than young Master Hu. How could he suddenly become ill? It must be because the servants have not been serving him well. Chumomo was stunned. Glaring at Lin Qingyu, she said, Isn't it because the accounting office has docked our allowance? That's awful. The third young master can't eat or sleep well. Naturally, he would get sick. As to why the third young master has gotten sick will be known once he is examined. If his allowance is really not enough, adding more is not out of the question. But if it's for some other reason, then Qingyu's eyes swept over Chumomo. Then this would be regarded as a different matter. Go. Let's head to the Qingdai Pavilion to have a look. Chumomo gritted her teeth and said, The third young master needs to take rest because of his illness. The Qingdai Pavilion has no time to receive Xiaojun. Jiang Shichan smiled and said,
Is it possible that Chumomo has forgotten? Our Xiaojun is the best doctor.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't come up with anything else, so I went with a mix for, um, oh, what? It's a mix between, there's this old cartoon character in Molly Weasley. I can't remember. Because Molly Weasley's voice goes up and down, and then I just took, there's a character, it has a male voice, and I just made it as high pitched as possible. So, absolutely ridiculous mishmash of stuff. In the Qingdai pavilion, Liu Chao's song was lying on the edge of the bed. He was constantly retching, sweating heavily, getting chills, and feeling weak. Liu Nantou was feeding him water and patting his back. Seeing Lin Qingyu and a large group of people coming in, his expression became even uglier. In consideration for the rules, he had to call out, "Sister-in-law." Liu Chao's song could also be considered a handsome gongzi. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to capture the hearts of those women from the pleasure quarters. Liu Nan Liu Nan Liu Nantao stood up and said, "Why is sister-in-law here? Why is sister-in-law here?" Lin Qingyu said, "I heard that the third master is unwell, so I especially came to see him." Liu Chao's song, like his father, gave the biggest importance to face. Having him cutting a sorry figure due to his illness, seen by so many people, he was so angry that he spat out, "Sister-in-law shouldn't have bothered." "No need to be so polite, third young master," Lin Qingyu said, grabbing Liu Chaosong's wrist. A quick examination provided him with the general idea. "A light touch won't do. This needs a heavy press. Third young master has a deep pulse, which is a sign of kidney weakness." If I remember this properly, kidney weakness is like a lesser form of syphilis. I think they explain it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's a sexually transmitted disease. Let me see. When the words fell, Liu Chaosong abruptly withdrew his hand and yelled, his ears turning red. "What nonsense are you talking about?" He saw everyone looking at each other. Several of the pages even seemed to be holding back laughter. He clutched the quilt tightly. "Get out! Get out of here!" Again, not yelling because thin walls. Lin Qingyu said lightly, "Third young master has been overindulging, damaging the kidney's qi. It would be best to practice some moderation." Liu Chaosong locked his eyes onto into Lin Qingyu's face and said viciously in a low voice, My sickly elder brother mustn't have been able to satisfy you, and you come running here to me to wag your tongue about." Lin Qingyu's eyes darkened, and he couldn't stop the venomous thoughts from frantically rising. What need was there to let a person like this live? When all was said and done, Liu Nantou was still an unmarried girl, after all. Hearing this, she couldn't help but shout, "Third brother, stop talking!" Liu Chaosong was in the middle of a fit of anger. How could he possibly listen to his sister? His expression twisted, and he said, It wasn't enough for you to frame my mother. Now you're planning not to let me off." "Yes," Lin Qingyu said faintly. "Now I don't plan on letting you off." At this time, a page arrived with a doctor they had called for
they had called from outside the mansion. Let us leave the rest to that doctor, Lin Qingyu mocked. Let us hope that doctor is an expert in andrology. As Lin Qingyu exited the room, he happened to meet the doctor. The doctor was about Lin Qingyu's age. He had an impressive bearing and was filled with heroic spirit. Rather than a doctor, he was more like a young general coming from the army barracks. When he saw Lin Qingyu, his eyes lit up and he called out excitedly, Shishong! I just picture him as a younger guy. Shishong! Lin Qingyu was startled, surprised. Shidi? This person was a junior who studied underneath the same mentor, Chang Yang. He completed his apprenticeship a year earlier than Chang Yang, afterwards returning to the capital to prepare for the exam. Chang Yang continued to travel with their mentor, roaming the land and seeking knowledge. Lin Qingyu had no idea when he had returned to the capital. Chang Yang said, I heard that you married into the Nananhu mansion. I was wondering whether I was going to run into you today. Lin Qingyu could see from the corner of his eye Liu Nantao staring at the two of them. He interrupted loudly. It's important that you see the patient. Quickly go in. We'll talk later. Chang Yang was a little disappointed. He said with a smile, I shall listen to my Shizhong. Then Qingyu returned to the Blue Wind Pavilion. Liu Wenchang had already eaten lunch and was about to climb into bed for a nap. He'd heard the news from Hua Lu, and while burrowing under the quilt, he said, I heard that Liu Xiaosheng is sick. What's his illness? Then Qingyu washed his hands. Aren't you all knowing? Have a guess. Liu Wenchang didn't even think about it. Based on his personality, it's probably kidney weakness. Lin Qingyu. So glad to have my crickets back. Did I get it right? These fools simply don't know how to follow the path of sustainable development. 7 times a night, fighting out till dawn. Liu Xiaosong is one. Liu Xiaosong is one, and that crown prince is another. Liu Wenchang shook his head in disapproval. It's because of these kind of people who have no regard for their bodies and forcibly cause malicious competition that people who can't go at it 7 or 8 times a night are seen as having no qualifications to be a protagonist. Why do you always mention the Crown Prince and even know about these secret things? Lin Qingyu narrowed his eyes. Could it be that you and the Crown Prince... Stop! Liu Wenchang seemed disgusted to the core. I'm going to throw up. Lin Qingyu nodded. That's right. You're not gay. Liu Wenchang hesitated for a moment. Yes. Lin Qingyu didn't want to talk more about these unsavory things. By the way, I just saw my Shidi in the mansion. Shidi? Liu Wenchang's ears twitched. A younger brother under the same mentor? Then Qingyu's tone carried a tone of reminiscence. He and I traveled with our teacher for 6 years. I haven't seen him for 2 years now. He has grown a lot. Liu Wenchang smiled and said, Oh, our Dr. Lin Shidi has grown taller again. We had better call him Gao Shidi. Go Shidi. Lin Qingyu didn't feel like paying him any attention. He thought for a while and said, Speaking of, my Shidi's ancestral home is in Linan. You two could be regarded as fellow townsmen. Liu Wenchang raised his eyebrows. So? once your body is a bit better. Would you like to go to Linan? I don't want to, Luan Chang replied decisively. Long journeys are tiring. You can't eat well or sleep well on the road. I'll go looking for hardship when I go crazy. Then Qingyu's eyes darkened slightly. Is that so? You just outed yourself. Author's note. Salted fish attack. Can we stop being involved in the attacking? Oh, I did do that wrong. Can we stop, please? Can we please stop being attacked and leave way for salted fish to live? Poor guy. Okay. Not gay in this book. No gay in this book. I know. I love the hesitation, though. He hesitated. That's right. No homo. I said that, didn't I? Yeah. All right. Did Sam go? Is Sam still here? You guys to go too? All right. It's going to be just me. I'm going to go for one more chapter because I can. And I don't want to have to deal with tomorrow. So I'm going to push this. I'm only at 2 hours and 20 minutes. So good night to everyone. Oh, you're still here, Sam. Are you breaking your rules for us? I'm so moved. Alrighty, I'm going to continue on with chapter 18. I'm going to keep going. Yeah, is what we're going to do. Alrighty. Chapter 18. Yeah, I really got to go now. Okay, I figured. All right, good night. Good night, Sam. Good night, Ghosty. And we will see you on Sunday. Don't forget to tune in. I'll remind us all on Discord. Have a good night. Good night. Yep. Chapter 18. This is the bearing of the main palace Qingyu. In the Qingdai pavilion, Chang Yang examined Liu Chaosong's pulse, and his diagnosis was exactly the same as Lin Qingyu's. However, he wouldn't be so blunt as Lin Qingyu, only saying, "Third young master Liu is overworked. In addition, he has drank a lot of alcohol during this period and this caused some gastrointestinal discomfort. Fortunately, third young master Liu is young and healthy. For the next few days, take your medicine on time, eat a light diet, abstain from self-indulgence, and you should recover completely in a few days." Liu Nantou smiled. Dr. Chang has worked hard. Then I'll write you a prescription. Liu Nantou nodded and asked casually, I heard Dr. Chang call my sister-in-law Xiangdi. Chang Yang hesitated for a moment and said, What the young lady said is true. The Xiaojun of your honorable house and I studied under the same master, but we have not been in contact for a long time. Liu Nantou smiled and said, What a coincidence. It's no wonder that Dr. Chang is so overjoyed when he saw sister-in-law. Chang Yang. Chang Yang wrote out the prescription and made to leave. Liu Nantou said, Niantou, said, Dr. Chang is sister-in-law's fellow disciple. Why not go to the Blue Inn Pavilion to see sister-in-law before leaving? Chang Yang remembered the let's talk later that Lin Qingyu had said to him just now and decided not to refuse. Thank you for your kindness, second young lady. Liu Nantou ordered someone to take Chang Yang to the Blue Inn Pavilion. She then had someone call another doctor to come and prepared the medicine according to that doctor's prescription. After that, she personally stewed a bowl of bird's nest soup and sent it to Nanan Ho, who was still poring over official documents even while he was relaxing in the bath. While Nanan Ho was feeling relaxed, she asked about Liu Chaosong being laid up in bed. She told him of how her mother had lost all appetite from extreme worry. She had already lost a lot of weight, and how her poor third brother in feverish unconsciousness
kept calling out to his mother. Nananhu heard this and couldn't help being moved to compassion. 2 months had passed since the incident with Cheng Guifei's birthday gift. Liang Shi has been confined behind closed doors, reflecting on her mistakes, made to know her place. But in the end, she was still the official wife of the Hu mansion, the nominal mother of his 3 children. He had to leave her a bit of face. Your mother has been recuperating for so long. She must surely be better by now, Nananhu said lightly. But she is still weak, so she need not worry about managing the mansion's affairs. After Liang Shi was set free from her confinement, she immediately rushed to Chengdai Pavilion. Upon learning the cause of Liu Chaosong's illness, she was immediately filled with anger. Have you forgotten how you were admonished by Master Hu after you failed the imperial exams? You still have the nerve to go looking for a good time at Jiao Fangxi? What do you think you're going to... Oh. What do you think you're doing letting those shady hussies take you in? Being pointed at and severely reprimanded by his birth mother like this, the scholar in Liu Chaosong was shamed into anger. I never did any serious problems in the first place. It was that Lin Qingyu who added oil and said in front of the servants that a scholar would rather accept death than humiliation. I swear this hatred will be avenged, or I shall be too shamed to face life. Sorry, baby. Don't talk about it anymore, Liu Nantao said calmly. Mother has been released from her confinement. This is a good thing. Of what use is being released? Liang Shi sighed. Now your father doesn't trust me. Your maternal grandparents' family is of no use. After last time, your father has never been in my room again. He probably spends all his time at Sleeping Moon Pavilion. Liu Nantao said helplessly. Mother, how many times have I told you? A childless concubine poses no threat to you. It's sister-in-law. Now the mansion's little matters are handled by Pan Shi, but the major matters are in the hands of sister-in-law. Mother, if you want to regain the right of stewardship, your focus should be on sister-in-law. Liu Chaosong said, full of resentment. I don't understand. Lin Qingyu is Chengxi's male wife. His father is just nothing but a 5th-rank panguan of the Imperial Hospital. How could he have played all you like this? Nananhu glanced at Liang Shi and said, I want to ask that too. Mother, why didn't you tell me in advance what you were doing with Liu Momo? Liang Shi knew that her daughter was extremely intelligent, and in front of her, she couldn't help being completely subservient. Of course, I was afraid to worry you. If you told me in advance, I definitely would have stopped it. I asked Dr. Jiang, and he said that eldest brother will not make it through the next year. Then we simply have to wait. Why are you in such a hurry? And now, you can't even exercise any control over the household. You've also lost father's trust. Even once eldest brother is gone, Pan Shi and sister-in-law will still be here. How can you hide the truth from the public? Looking back on it, Liang Shi too thought that Liu Momo had egged her on until her eyes were covered in mud. Liu Chaosong said, This is the end of the matter. What's the use of telling off your mother now?
If you have this skill, you might as well think about how to get back the power of the stewardship. There are only 300 taels this month. How could that possibly be enough?
Nantao thought for a while and said, I might have a way. I can give it a try. Liang Shi hurriedly said, What can I do? Liu Nantao said slowly, Third brother's illness. Let that Dr. Chang take care of him. Oh, excuse me. In the bedroom of the Blue Wind Pavilion, Lin Qingyu held a pen in his hand, writing out a prescription. Lu Wenchang, who was almost asleep, opened his eyes, wanting to see more of the beauty before him before going to sleep.
What are you writing? Prescription.
Lu Wenchang stared blankly.
Eh? Are you going to give me a new medicine again? What kind of medicine is it this time?
Lin Qingyu narrowed his eyes.
A medicine to liven things up.
Lu Wenchang.
Hmm?
Lin Qingyu sneered.
Your third brother said that I slandered his kidney deficiency because you couldn't satisfy me.
Lu Wenchang.
Eh?
At this time, Hua Lu came to deliver a message, interrupting Lu Wenchang's question mark. She said that Dr. Chang was asking to see Xiaojun and was waiting in the courtyard.
It's my Shidi, Lin Qingyu said. I'll go see him. You can take a nap.
Lu Wenchang said softly and slowly.
All right.
He closed his eyes again, but somehow he was no longer the slightest bit sleepy. Hua Lu walked slowly. Excuse me. Hua Lu walked softly and quietly but to the bedside, thinking of tucking in the quilt for him. Suddenly she heard his call out, Hua Lu. Hua Lu jumped from fright. Young master, you're not asleep yet. Usually at this hour, in Xiaojun's words, young master should be dead asleep. Lu Wenchang sat up, hugged the pillow, and asked,
When did you change the pillows to green? Oh, when did you change the pillows to green? It makes me look like I've got something green on top of my head.
What color would the young master like? I'll change it for you. Lu Wenchang looked out the window, seeming thoughtful.
I'll think about it.
Lin Qingyu received Chang Yang in the main hall. Among their master's apprentices, Lin Qingyu and Chang Yang were accepted at the same year, and their relationship was a bit closer than with the other apprentices. Seeing each other after 2 years, Lin Qingyu inevitably felt a little rueful looking at this young man before him who was now obviously taller and darker skinned, thinking about how different his own situation was today.
Shidi has grown taller.
Lin Qingyu paused. He remembered someone's way of calling him Gao Shidi. Suddenly, he couldn't speak anymore. He even wanted to laugh a little. Liu Wenchang hardly did anything proper, but his brainwashing skills were top-notch. Chang Yang wasn't aware that Lin Qingyu's attention on him was already dragged away by something else. He looked at Lin Qingyu deeply. His chest was full of agitated emotions. He was still the Shizhong in his memory, steadfast and imposing. His voice is slightly cold. He was obviously a man, but his face can be described as beautiful but cold. It was a pity that, though the person hasn't changed, the circumstances have. In just 2 short years, his cherished Shishong has become the wife of the invalid young master Hu. How could one possibly accept it?
If he had known that his Shishong would someday marry a man and become someone's wife, he would have done it a long time ago. For what, for what reason had he been enduring all these years? Compared to him, Lin Qingyu seemed to be much calmer. When did Shidi arrive in the capital? All sorts of feelings were welling up in Chang Yang's heart. He said, At the end of last year, I bid farewell to Master and returned to Linan to accompany my parents to rush to the capital after the New Year. I went to the Lin residence to look for you, but your father said that you've already... Lin Qingyu asked, The Master, how is he? Master is still strong and vigorous despite his age. It's just... Shishong, you... Chang Yang lowered his voice. His eyes couldn't hide his emotions. Shishong, I know you were forced into this. An imperial decree left you with no choice but to surrender to a marriage. Having been reunited after a long time, Lin Jingyu didn't want to talk about this with his junior. Stop talking. Chang Yang turned a deaf ear to him and said, No one knows Shichong better than I do. I know Shichong's ambitions well. Seeing Shishong having fallen to this point, I haven't closed my eyes for days and nights. Lin Qingyu frowned. Shidi, I have already figured out a way. I want to take you out of the Hu mansion. We can be the same as we were in the past, traveling together to all corners of the world. Lin Qingyu was about to interrupt when a male voice cut in. What are you talking about? Could you let me in on this as well? I want to hear too. The two turned towards the sound. They saw Lu Wanchang immaculately dressed, with the elegance and refinement befitting a noble. Qingyu, won't you introduce me? Lin Qingyu found it a little strange. What was Lu Wanchang doing up at this hour? Shidi, this is young Master Hu. Young Master Hu, this is my junior brother. A simple and clear introduction, not a single word more than necessary. Chang Yang cupped his hands in a... I don't know what that word is. Obeisance? Maybe? Chang Yang cupped his hands in a bow and said, Greetings to young Master Hu. Lu Wanchang was immediately friendly and said with a smile, Hello, Shidi. A different expression flashed in Chang Yang's eyes. He smiled. I pray that young Master Hu not misunderstand. He looked at it. He looked at Lin Qingyu's side profile. Shishong and I grew up together. We share a brotherly love of each other. Our relationship is deeper than ordinary people's. It has been a long time since we've seen each other, and we lost track of time talking. I hope we didn't disturb young Master Hu. Brotherly love? You think Lao Tzu hasn't read enough novels to know that being a Shishong is a high-risk occupation? We are all 1,000-year-old foxes here. No need to act all mysterious. Lu Wanchang kept the smile on his face. Misunderstand? What is there for me to misunderstand? I pray that Shidi not misunderstand that I might misunderstand. Now that Lu Wanchang was here, Chang Yang naturally could not continue their conversation just now. He said, By the way, Shizhong, while visiting the South China Sea, Master discovered a medicine that has a miraculous effect on tuberculosis. Then Qingyu's face was relaxed. Tell me about it. Now that they were talking medicine, Liu Wanchang had no chance to interrupt. He didn't care. In any case, he remained seated as hosts with Lin Qingyu, holding his cup of tea and savoring its taste. It was in situations such as these that one must appear ever tolerant. After the two had finished talking, Liu Wanchang warmly invited Chang Yang to stay for dinner. Chang Yang saw that his presence hadn't affected Luan Chang in the slightest, and instead, it was he himself who became overcautious and annoyed. No matter how reluctant he was to part with his Shishong, he still declined sorry. No matter how reluctant he was to part with his Shishong, he still declined Luan Chang's repeated invitations to stay. It was a pity that he had yet to explain his plan to his Shishong. However, he mustn't rush this matter. He will continue to look for other opportunities. Before leaving, Cheng Yang mentioned that Liu Chaosheng's condition was indeed due to kidney weakness, and that he had prescribed the appropriate medicine. Lin Qingyu said lightly, Luna and Tao already knows about our relationship as fellow disciples. I'm afraid Shidi wrote that prescription for nothing. After Cheng Yang left, the noble sun aura on Luan Chang's body disappeared without a trace. He yawned and said, I'm so sleepy. I'm going to catch up on sleep. Then Qingyu asked, What were you up to coming here and spouting a bunch of nonsense instead of taking an afternoon nap? Luan Chang smiled and said, Wasn't it to provide warm hospitality to your Shidi? Then Qingyu couldn't understand the reason for it. Why? Luan Chang smiled like a scoundrel. This is the bearing. This is the bearing of the main palace, Qingyu. It's completely different from wild. Is it completely different from wildflowers outside? Then Qingyu said, No. And that's it. I have to actually get the chapters for 1920 and up, so I have to pay for those. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I get that done by before Sunday. Is my hope. To any of you watching this in the future, or any of you watching it now, I apologize. I hope you've enjoyed the little bit of actual reading that we got done. It's still under the 3-hour mark, which is unusual for me, but we're going to sign off now. It's not even 11, so I always expect the Wednesday streams to go a lot later, but then I should really realize that most people actually work the next day. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to sign off. I thank you all for joining me, and I hope you have enjoyed these chapters. And we will continue on with chapter 19 this coming Sunday. And I hope to see you all there. From Yui and I, we wish you a very good night. And until next time, happy listening. I really got to close my window or get something because it's so hot in here. I am dying.